Hi, I'm Matt with Keymaster Games, and I'm here to talk about Parks. Parks is a celebration of the U.S. national parks. It features 48 unique illustrations of 45 of the different national parks. We wanted this idea of a board game that was a vehicle not only for these beautiful illustrations that we have, but also for the experiences that we have all taken part in over the course of our lives. In the game, you take on the role of two hikers, and you are going to be hiking down a trail over the course of 4 seasons. You'll be taking one hiker on your turn and moving them down the trail. So in this case, I took my purple hiker and I went down to the mountain. I gained a sun and a mountain. They're memories of your travels, and you're going to be using them later to visit wildlife, encounter wildlife, to gain canteens or take photos, but ultimately to visit national parks. So we had our purple hiker who moved down the trail and grabbed a mountain. I'm going to take my white hiker, move one of theirs to the wildlife preserve, where I'm going to take this bonus water that's sitting on the trail and use it, trade it in for wildlife. We have 12 unique wildlife meeples. Your hiker's going to be moving down the trail, leapfrogging over one another, gathering their resources until ultimately they get to trail end. Once they get to trail end, a hiker has 3 options. They can reserve a park, they can buy gear, or they can visit a park. When you take a hiker to visit a park, they will then take their resources or their memories that they have created along the way, and they will use them to recount their adventures in different national parks. For example, if I wanted to visit Shenandoah National Park, which is out right here in the middle, I would take a forest and a mountain that I've collected in my journeys. I would add them back to the resource trays, and I would put it in front of me. I now have 2 points from Shenandoah National Park, and a new park would come out. Once all the hikers reach trail end, we're going to do a couple of things. First, anyone that's taken a photo along the way will get to take a bonus photo. Second thing that'll happen is they'll take all of our hikers and we'll move them to trailhead. The third thing that'll happen is along the way, you might have filled up a couple of canteens using our water resources. We will dump out our canteens. And then we're going to make a new trail. We add a new tile into the game, and so now we have a new, longer trail representing the second season of the year. Once you do this 4 times, you have reached the end of the year, and you're going to compare your experiences along the way. Remember, it is not the destination, but the journey that's important, and that is what we're celebrating in parks. Hi, I'm Matt with Keymaster Games, and I'm here to talk to you about Space Park. Space Park is a game where you are riding rockets around the galaxy, visiting extraordinary locations, collecting crystals that are used to acquire badges, so that you can brag to all your friends that you're the greatest explorer. Our board is made up of 7 locations representing the 7 destinations in the galaxy that you are looking to explore. Each location has an action that you will take when you visit it. We have 3 rockets on the board that represent the locations that are available. Right now, Lunar Woods, Cosmic Canyon, and Celestial Seas are all available to me. On my turn, I look at where these rockets are and I take one of those actions. In a game, everybody starts with a badge that they're working on in their hand. So in this case, we have the Pathfinder badge, and our second player is trying to obtain the Wayfarer badge. The Pathfinder needs a purple crystal. They're going to go first, so I'm going to go ahead and take my lunar crystal, pick up the rocket, and move it clockwise to the next available location. Now on our second player's turn, they're looking at these 3 locations. They're looking for sea crystals, so they grab our sea crystal right here, and we're going to go ahead and pick up and move around the board. These rockets are orbiting the board, giving you access to different options to get to different actions. We have the collect crystals, or the first 3 that we've already discussed. At Outpost 13, that is where you can use the crystals you've collected in order to acquire the badges, gaining the exploration points that are on the bottom of the badge. Your badges have either abilities that give you bonuses throughout the course of the rest of the game. For example, the Pathfinder badge is going to make all of your future purple badges cost 1 less solar crystal to visit. So as the rockets orbit around the board and you acquire more crystals and acquire more badges, ultimately one player is going to achieve at least 20 exploration points. Space Park is modeled after the old WPA national park posters. And we sat down and we said, hey, what if we had national parks in space? And we were inspiring these explorers to go and visit these parks. It's one of my favorite games to teach and demo because it truly does take 3 to 5 minutes to teach it, and people get the concepts real fast.
This is Campy Creatures. In Campy Creatures, you are playing as mad scientists, sending your creatures out into the night to capture mortals to perform experiments on. There's a lot of great mortals out there, some positive, some not so positive, and some that you just need a bunch of to do well with. Each night, we'll be playing 6 rounds. A round is taking a monster card from your hand, playing it face down, and then simultaneously revealing it. that determines your pecking order for who's going to get to go to what I like to call the mortal market first. First place will typically be the high number, but all of these monsters have abilities on them, and the abilities sometimes change exactly how that pecking order is going to play out. Every mad scientist has the same hand of creature cards. These creatures have a bunch of different abilities on them, and they also have a power. The kaiju, of course, being the most powerful, and the blob, seemingly not very powerful, but with the potential to do a lot of damage. Campy Creatures is played over 3 nights, each night played at a different location. Mortals can help you win a location, locations can give you more abilities and more goodies to work with. For instance, this lunar base gives you a nice laser, and who doesn't need a nice laser? Because all mad scientists have similar creations, it's very likely that during the night you'll put out a monster that matches another monster. We call these clashes or ties. Anytime a tie happens, we look at our clashometer to resolve this. The player who's higher on the clashometer wins the tiebreaker, but at the end of that round, they'll go to the bottom and be last in the pecking order should they clash again. Campy Creatures was our second game, and it now has an expansion. The expansion adds more monsters, more mortals to capture, and more locations to capture them at. I'm Jennifer with Keymaster Games, and this is Control. Before we talk about Control, I want to tell you a little story about our founder. Kyle Key actually has a pretty serious heart disease. He ended up in the hospital not too long ago for major heart surgery, and while he was recovering, he wanted to play games with people. He was like, hey, I'm sitting in this hospital, come play a game with me. They played tons of games over the course of months, and in that time he realized he could make games to help people be happy and bring joy to family and friends. So we have Control. In Control, you play as time travelers. You've taken a trip to the future, and now you're just trying to get home. You'll play fuel cells out trying to get to 21. Each player has their own hand of cards, and in a 2-player game, you actually have your own deck. On your turn, you can play cards out for their value, or you can discard them for their abilities. But there are 2 types of fuel cells, and they act a little differently. Unstable fuel cells are super volatile, so when you play them out, you actually have to just play them for their value, or you have to discard them to get the benefit of their action. But nice, smaller valued, stable fuel cells, you can actually play out for their points and their ability. The game plays quickly in about 10 minutes per round, and it's designed to be played over the course of multiple rounds. Our second edition of Control comes in a nice portable tuck box that makes it really easy to take it anywhere you're going. Control plays 2 players, but it also plays 4 players. So you can combine these 2 decks, making a bigger draw deck if you're playing with more people. In a 4-player game, you're going to be working as teammates, trying to get one person's fuel cells all built up so you can get out of there. And that's Control.